when I learned karate, I did a lot of bag work, and I know that old school Taekwondo guys, they used to do a lot of bag work, and now there seems to be a lot of air kicking.
Yeah.
And no rep.
To get points, just to make the contact.
Yeah, but you're not, you can throw a karate roundhouse kick or a Muay Thai slam kick. Mechanically, one's going to be stronger, but on top of that, did you actually train the kick? I don't mean practice the kick against a willing opponent. I mean, did you actually put force into your body in the exact way that you're going to have to absorb force, and how many times did you do it? Because then you can't say which one's stronger. You have to say who trained. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't just hit, those flippy bags that you kind of hold out
The
like that?
clappers.
The clappers. Like, you can't.
But they sound great and parents love them.
And then what you end up getting is people, when they kick, you hear that like slap instead of the thud.
Did you hear there was a study about martial artists that drilled their kicks in the air, and over time, they all have hip issues. I don't know if you heard about this.
I've not.
It's
that's
very
brilliant.
interesting. I'll see if I can find the link.
Yeah.
But this big study came out on martial artists that practice their kicks basically in the air without making contact with anything. And over time, they develop hip issues. So the point is that it's terrible to practice your air kicks.
Well, we talked about it last time about putting input into the tissue, right?
Okay, yeah. It's I mean, you're generating force using tissue, and then when you strike someone, you're transmitting the force into another person, but you're also having to absorb force because of the impact. Okay, so all of those things are force load management, and if you're kicking into the air, you've never trained force load management.
There's that, and I don't know if it's something to do with stopping the kick.
Of course, eccentrically stopping the kick is a huge. I mean, when you hit it, that's why I was saying about max effort, because people are so confused. Like, you go under a bench press, and everyone, I go, do you understand how this is a max effort? And they go, of course, this is a max effort. But at the second that you strike that bag, that's the most amount of force you're ever going to feel into your tissue. So that brutal training of the tissue,
and it's exhausting for a reason.
It's but this is where I talk about, is that people don't see that as training. It's like they separate it. So for me, when I do bag work, there's some days where I'm doing dynamic bag work. So I'm increasing my velocity. But if you understand what's called the force velocity curve, it says that as you increase velocity in anything, your force has to come down, right? If you're lifting, if you increase the velocity of the lift, you can't lift as much. And if you want to lift more, you have to decrease the velocity. That's just a general training law that we have to abide by. So when I'm doing kick training, it's like, well, what are you doing today? Are you doing max efforts, or are you doing dynamic work? Which, by the way, people in the audience, you'll hear these words and you'll be like, that sounds a lot about like how Westside does training, how they actual training exercises. And that's what I'm saying.